Hello, my name is Jeff Raffauf, and I'm one of the pastors at West Lawn United Methodist Church. And it's my privilege to welcome you to this time of daily connection today. We're so thankful that you've tuned in and taken some time to share with us and to connect with us today. And so we wanted to make it worth your while. And today we're going to look at some wisdom writings from the Old Testament, particularly from the book of Proverbs. I say today and in the weeks to come. But today, the verse comes to us from the first chapter of Proverbs, perhaps one of the better known verses from the book of Proverbs. And Proverbs 1, verse 7 reads like this: "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction." So, there's a lot to this verse. Although it seems to make a lot of sense, there's a lot to it that is worth our time to understand. And the first is that word fear. I always felt a little funny about that. And in fact, there are some wonderful passages that have been often used, that I have used at funerals and graveside services, that talk about the fear of the Lord. And I always wonder what people who are not believers, what people who are not religious or skeptical of religion or anti-religious, what they might think of these verses. And so there are times when I try to explain to them that when I say fear, think revere. When I say fear, think revere. Because one of the ways that the Hebrews understood fear, a fear of the Lord, is a deep reverence. Great example is Moses had a fear of the Lord when he was presented with the holiness of God up on that mountaintop. And it says that he had a fear of the Lord. Well, that fear is really a reverence, a revering of God. And so we're encouraged to have a reverence, a deep-rooted reverence for God and the ways of God. But there's a second element to the word fear as well, and that is simply to say that it's one who is loyal and faithful to God. One who is loyal and faithful. Then it continues on, the verse continues, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge." And don't think of beginning as a starting point, as in a race, but think of it more in terms of a foundation upon which we build something. Proverbs speak to the life of a worldly person who has much experience, wisdom, and succeeds and has success in this world and in this life. But the Proverbs don't necessarily speak as much to the spiritual values that we try to emulate as followers of Jesus. So if you think of the beginning of knowledge or wisdom, knowledge and wisdom are almost interchangeable here. If you think of the beginning of knowledge, think of building a life that will be successful in this world, but that will extend to the world to come. And that is the life of a person of faith. A person of faith is one who has a deep reverence for God, is loyal and faithful to God, even in difficult days, days like quarantines and stay-at-home orders and unemployment and financial or physical uncertainty, illness, death, and sorrow. Even in the face of these dark and challenging times, that person who has a fear of the Lord reveres God and is faithful and loyal to God. And so we hope that that is a descriptor for you this day. But the passage continues then to say that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. And then it says, fools despise wisdom and instruction. Friends, I hope that you and I will always be considered among the wise and the knowledgeable and not among the fools. That is to say that you and I will take this time that's been given to us right here and right now, that we'll take this time and this opportunity to build a life that reveres God, that honors God, that is loyal to God, that is faithful to God, even when things aren't going exactly like we would have them. And that we do so because of our deep and abiding faith. That the faith that we have, the wisdom, the knowledge that we have of God, is the foundation upon which we build everything we have, everything we are, everything we all ever will be. So friends, I wish for you this kind of wisdom, this kind of peace that comes from knowing the wisdom of God, and a deep reverence for God, even in these challenging days. May this be a way to describe you and me as we live our lives together, even when we're apart. So friends, thank you again for tuning in, and may God be with you till we meet again.
its crystal light forever, flowing by the throne of God. Yes, we'll gather by the river, the beautiful river.